welcome back to my channel. I'm Hayley. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. So today I am going to take you through the 15 tips and tricks that we learnt whilst we were in Center Parcs. We went to Center Parcs a couple of weeks ago now for my parents' 40th, which is a Ruby wedding anniversary. We went Friday to Monday and we went to Longleat. Now I expect that majority of the tips in this video will also apply to the other Center Parcs sites. We had an absolutely amazing time. So if you're heading there, which chances are if you're watching this video, you've either booked or you are looking to book, then you are in for a real treat. It is the perfect active holiday. Keep an eye out for my travel vlog, which will be coming very soon, for more of a, I guess, insight into what we did while we were there, what things look like. We learnt a few things while we were there. Think of us as your guinea pigs. We've already been, we've worked out what to do, what not to do, what are good things to take with you, and today I am going to impart that knowledge to you. I've split it into pre going to Center Parcs, during and post. There's actually very little post. So you've booked your trip, you're really excited, you receive, or you will receive, a pack in the post from Center Parcs with all of the information you could need. And in there is a list of activities that you can do whilst you're at Center Parcs, but that will go to the lead people in the party. So that was my parents. But we also received an email that allowed us to set up an account, and through that you can go online and you can book your activities. So and I think you also make payment that way. Now the reason I don't know that for sure is because we didn't bother to do that. We thought we'll wait until we get there, we'll see how we feel on the day or the day before, and then we'll just book. Big mistake. So on the Sunday morning, we thought we would quite like to do a couple of those activities. So on Saturday, we decided we would sit down and we would have a look through and we would book some. No. There wasn't really anything left. So we weren't able to do what we wanted to do. So there is my first tip. When you book your trip, try and work out what it is that you would like to do and book those activities ahead of time. Number two, still thinking about activities, I would have a budget in mind of how much you want to spend on the weekend or the week that you're in Center Parcs on activities. They are not cheap. I mean, Center Parcs itself isn't a cheap break, as we all know, but it is amazing and the opportunities are vast. Have in mind an idea of a number that you want to spend on activities to make sure that it doesn't break the bank. Now, to give you an idea, we played badminton and there were 4 of us. So we hired the court, I think we got 45 minutes. We also hired 4 badminton rackets and 2 shuttlecocks, and it cost us £18. It is not a cheap holiday. We did actually manage to get to do field archery, which was such good fun. It was out and about in the woods. We were shooting. Do you shoot? We were using animals as targets in the woods, not real ones, I would like to say. And that cost us, I think it was either £30 per person or £35 per person for an hour and a half. So great fun. And also, you know, these are opportunities that you don't get to do day to day. So it's a really nice sort of chance to do something a little bit different, but it is expensive. Still sticking with the activities theme here. Number 3, if there is a sport that you enjoy doing at home and you have the equipment for, so whether that be rackets, balls, shuttlecocks, I would recommend bringing it with you, because when you're there, if you have to hire it, it costs money. I think to hire a badminton racket was £1 per badminton racket, which obviously doesn't sound a lot, but it does add up. If you have it, bung it in the car, take it with you. There's plenty of room in the accommodation to store things like that. It'll just make things a lot cheaper. Number 4 is to do a supermarket shop before you arrive. You can pre-order ahead of time a pack which gives you a lot of basics. I have no idea how much that is. We did not do that. So there is a supermarket on site. Within Longleat, it's in the plaza. I assume it's probably the same for the other sites. and it has grown since I last went to Center Parcs. So you could pick up everything from there if you wanted. I'm just thinking if you want to make your trip a little bit more cost efficient, you want to save a bit of money, I would head to the supermarket before you get to Center Parcs. Once you're in the supermarket, this is tip number 5, I would advise, if you're looking to barbecue, pick up a disposable barbecue or 2 from the supermarket. So we maybe misread the information about our lodge. We assumed that they actually had a barbecue there. So we bought all of the barbecue food, but assuming we could just pop it on the barbecue out in the garden. Actually, what they do have is just a brick structure. So all we did was just buy one of the little tinfoil disposable ones and popped it on there. Basically, we had a barbecue pretty much every night while we were there. While you're thinking about packing, I would suggest bringing at least a couple of bikinis, swimsuit. There isn't a great place to air or dry things within the lodges themselves. We didn't have an airer in ours. I'm not sure whether there are as standard in others, but we had to hang them on the back of the chairs around the dining table. If you don't fancy putting on wet swimwear the next day, I would suggest bringing at least 2 lots of swimwear. Another thing you might want to think to bring, this is going to sound crazy, but because we were there a couple of weeks ago when it was just getting to the heat wave, it was getting really hot. Although the lodges are mainly under the trees, so they're quite shady, the rooms can get really warm. There's no air conditioning. I mean, as you'd expect, why would we in this country need air conditioning? We took our Dyson fan with us, and to be honest, we used it every night while we were there. The rooms are really well insulated, so that does mean that it can get pretty hot. So if you're a hotbod like me, I would definitely advise taking just a little plug-in fan that you can use and you can have on either to cool down the room before you go to sleep, or basically just keep it on throughout the night. The only real way to get around Center Parcs is to either bring bikes with you or you can walk. Just bear in mind, if you are bringing bikes, which I know they suggest for Center Parcs that you do bring bikes, it is very hilly in parts. You may have to get off your bike at times and push it up some of the steeper hills. We walked, we didn't hire bikes, we didn't take our own, we actually just walked around. It didn't take us long to get from one side to the other. We were staying in Maple, which was really near the plaza, and quite often we walked over to the sports area, and I don't think it took us longer than about 15 minutes. Just beware, if you are taking bikes, there are a lot of very steep hills. Number 9. You've arrived at Center Parcs. You can get into your lodge at 3 o'clock. So check-in is at 3. You arrive before then, you can use the plaza, you can go and get yourself a Starbucks. I believe that you're allowed into the swimming pool and the rapids. At 3 o'clock, when you're allowed in, everyone seems to rush over to the car park to pick up their cars and take them to their lodges. Now, if you just wait 45 minutes, it will pretty much be empty. Number 10. Now, the rapids and the subtropical swimming paradise are probably what Center Parcs is most renowned for. Now, it can get super busy. Try to swim out of peak hours if you can. So we found going in about 4:30, 5 o'clock, things really started to quieten down. On the Friday that we checked in, we went to the swimming pool about 7 o'clock, I think it was. I think it closes at 9. My niece and nephew had the kids' play area completely to themselves. Try and swim sort of early evening into the nighttime. You can go down the rapids without someone slamming into the back of you. You don't have to queue for the flumes. It's just a sort of much more chilled experience. Number 11, key that they give you for your lodge, which is basically a band, and I think it must be a magnet or something on the top. That could be completely wrong. Anyway, that key also acts as the key for a locker. So once you go into the changing rooms for the swimming pools, you will use that to unlock the locker and lock it again. Now, that's great, but you do have to remember your locker number. So obviously, usually if you go into a gym or you go to a swimming pool, you would receive a little band and on it has the locker number. That doesn't happen in Center Parcs. So make sure you remember the number of your locker. Otherwise, they all look exactly the same. Number 12, we are flying through this. You're over in the sports area. You could get a coffee from the sports bar and sit outside. However, if you just walk probably about 10 steps inside the sports plaza, opposite the sports bar itself, you'll find Starbucks. Now, if you're just looking for a coffee, I would advise buying a coffee from Starbucks and taking it outside, sitting on the lawn or on the beach, and just watching the world go by, looking at the people playing on the total wipeout course, watching the people on the zip line. There's so much to see. It is cheaper to go to Starbucks and pick up one of their coffees than it is to order from the sports bar. Also within the sports bar, it can take a while for your order to arrive. If you want to save a bit of money and you're keen to sit outside anyway, I would advise skip the sports bar for a coffee and head over to Starbucks, get a takeaway instead. Number 13. Now, I know Wi-Fi is a really big thing for some people on holiday. For me, I actually love it if there's no signal and there's no Wi-Fi. It means that my boyfriend isn't on his phone all the time. Luckily, or unluckily, depending on how you look at it, the Wi-Fi is really good. Pretty much, I would say, throughout Center Parcs. There are some little areas where it's really hard to pick up or it's slow, but generally it is pretty good. You won't be able to get 4G on some of the networks. I'm on Vodafone, and actually I struggled. If I couldn't get Wi-Fi, then I had no signal whatsoever. So if you are looking to make calls, I would make sure that you have Wi-Fi calling activated. Number 14, if you're looking to do any activities that are listed as being at the outdoor activity centre, give yourself enough time to get there. So it is to the main entrance and out a bit further. You can see the main road from the activity centre. I would give yourself a good 20-25 minutes to walk there. It's not within sort of the main Center Parcs complex itself. It is out past where you would have driven in and checked in and got given your keys. Number 15. So you've had an amazing time in Center Parcs, which I have no doubt you will. Checkout time is actually quite early, so it's 10 o'clock. Now, with most places, you feel as though you've got a bit of leeway afterwards. You know, they're not going to be turning up on your doorstep. They don't do that, but I would just say that housekeeping, I guess because of how much they've got to turn around in a very short space of time, housekeeping will be there prompt. So I would advise getting your stuff packed and ready the night before, which means that in the morning you can have a bit more of a leisurely breakfast. You don't have to leave Center Parcs itself by 10 o'clock, you just have to be out of your lodge. So I would advise bringing the car, bunging all your stuff in, taking the car back to the main car park, and then you can use the rest of your day as you like. And that is my tips and tricks for Center Parcs. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give it the thumbs up below. If you are heading to Center Parcs, I would love to know which one you're going to, for one, and also, once you've been, if you have any tips and tricks of your own. If you do, pop those in the comments below. And of course, as always, if you haven't subscribed, it would honestly mean the world to me if you clicked that little subscribe button below. My aim is to get to 100 by the end of August. I think as this video goes up, I'm on 91, so I'm so close. I'm in touching distance of that huge milestone. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care.